Hello, YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Pinstar Plays Race for the Galaxy. So today is Thursday, and today I've transmogrified Thursdays into digital board game day. So this one is one that I got picked up on a lark. And I have been addicted. I have been seriously addicted. Race for the Galaxy is a tableau building card game. It existed in real life first and then was translated to digital for Steam, Android, and iOS. And I mean, the game is fun. I'll explain the rules. Definitely a sci-fi themed. But one of the claim to fames of this game is it has the most difficult yet fair playing AI that I have ever faced in a game, like any strategy game. I have never come up against an AI that is this good and yet still plays by the exact same rules as the human. So it's not like, you know, playing in deity mode in Civilization where the AI gets like a bunch of free cities and production bonuses and research bonuses and other cheaty freebies to give them a fair shot against the player. No, the AI on hard in this game have no mechanical advantages over the player. They're just really freaking smart. They're beatable, but they are it's tough. So let's dive right in. New game. Now there are a bunch of expansions for this that you can. I've purchased them all. I have not turned them all on yet because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around this game. So actually, you know what? Let's start off with no expansions. Just to give you sort of a tutorial of what this game is like. So it's up to 4 people, and yeah, it's good with 4 people. All right, so the way the game works here is this. So we are basically all different spacefaring empires, and we're here to, you know, we want to settle and conquer worlds. We want to build up our wealth and you know, develop new technologies. And overall, we want to be the biggest and most prestigious empire of the galaxy. Now, there's a couple ways about doing that. Is the 2 ways to the main way to win is to win by victory points. See this little hexagon right here? Just having this card gives me 1 victory point, and each card has its own victory point value. That's one way to get victory points. Another way is to earn them by consuming goods on your cards. Which I will get to here. That will give you victory point chips, which add to your score overall. The game ends when either all of the victory point chips have been exhausted. There's 48 in total available for the game, or one of the empires plays 12 cards in total. Once they've played 12 cards, their empire is complete, and then the game ends, even if there's still victory point chips. Now, what the way this game manages your resources is your cards in hand are your money. You discard cards to pay for things. The cost in the upper sphere here is how many cards you have to discard to play that thing. So if we wanted to play Empath World, we would have to discard 1 other card. Doesn't matter what we discard, but we have to pitch it. So, you know, your available plays are also your available resources to pay for that. So you do a lot more discarding than you do playing. But that's good because you have to strategically decide which things to play. Now, our opening hand here, everyone starts with 6 cards, but you have to immediately discard 2 of them. So let's look at our options here. Now, a couple of other nuances here. So this card right here, see how the 2 is in white? that is a defense rating. Rather than, basically settle this peacefully, you generally have to conquer this planet in order to bring it into your empire, and that they have that much of a defense. You need to have enough military to conquer that. The only military we have is actually a negative to our military with the empath world, so we're not going to be able to take over the reptilian uplift race anytime soon, so let's get rid of them. Now everyone starts with a different starting world here. Our world does two things. Well, actually, let me explain the phases in just a moment here. What's a good one to have? Distant Worlds is kind of a risky play. We can go Mining World. We want to keep Mining World. We want to get rid of Old Earth. Do I want to get rid of Old Earth? Yeah, I do. Okay. So anyway, so the way the game plays is that there are 5 different phases that can take place each round. The first phase is called Explore, where you can get some extra cards from the deck. You basically draw a certain number of cards, and then you have to pick from them and discard the rest. It's a way to sort of get a couple more cards in your hand at the beginning of the round. Second phase is called Develop. Now, we don't have any develop cards. All of our cards in hand are planets, so we need to settle something rather than develop something. But there are certain technology cards that have a diamond symbol instead of this circle symbol, and those would be played during the develop phase. Then we've got the settle phase. That is when we get to play our planets here. Now, you can only play one planet at a time. Then there's the consume phase. The consume phase is essentially it corresponds to these powers down here in phase 4. Worlds can get goods on them, and in the consume phase you spend those goods in exchange for certain effects. In this case, with Earth's Lost Colony, if we pay a good, we get a victory point. Whereas New Earth here, if we pay a good, we get a good plus 1 card. So it's a little more powerful, but it's a more expensive world. The final phase is produce, where if a card is able to produce a good and that card doesn't have a good on it, then you'll be able to produce a good. So in this case, this Earth's Lost Colony would produce a novelty good. And then you can later use those goods to either consume, or you can take the sell power and spend the goods to convert it directly into cards. So, yeah, it's fairly complex. Now, here's the twist. This is the ingenious twist to this game. Not every phase activates every round. You as a player need to choose one phase that you would like to activate. And if that phase activates, when you choose that, then that phase is guaranteed to activate. But your opponents also get to choose a phase. And based on who chooses what phases, things activate or they don't. So I want to make sure we play a world here. So I'm going to choose to take the settle phase. So let's lock that in. Everyone chooses at the same time. Okay, so we can see what our opponents did. 2 of our opponents also decided to do settle, and 1 opponent decided to call development. Now, unfortunately, we don't. Now, here's the thing: everybody gets to do a development if they have one available, and then everybody gets to do a settle. So this guy right here can also settle if he has the cards and the resources to do so. Now, do I want Mining World or Empath World? I actually kind of want... Since nobody called production, we're not going to get any goods on here, nor are we going to get any goods on our world here. By the way, the phases always progress in order from 1 to 5, and the order of operations is very important. Actually, I think I'm going to do Empath World here. Because it's cheaper. And I that sets up a play. So Now now we have to pay one to settle that. I really want New Earth, but that's so expensive right now. But I kind of want Distant World too because it gives us a price boost to our goods here. And I don't want to get rid of Mining World. Yeah, we're going to have to get rid of New Earth. It's too expensive this early in the game. Now, when you choose an action, you get a bonus for choosing that action. The bonus associated with Settle is you get to draw one free card. So we got, at the end of that phase, we got to draw a free card. We got Space Marines. This is one of the cards that give you military. Okay, so now the round has ended, and once again, we are asked to choose one of our actions. Now, I need more cards. This is not quite enough. I can't even afford to get these two. So there's a couple approaches that I could do, depending on what I think my opponents are going to do. And this is where this game gets so cerebral. So if I call Explore, I would be able to ultimately add 2 cards to my hand out of a choice of 3. That would then give me more resources to pay for and play other cards in the round, provided that somebody calls Settle or Develop. If they don't call that, I don't get to play anything. I just have a couple of extra cards in my hand. The alternative is if I sell a good. I could sell this genetics good. Genetics sell, their base price is 4 cards. So if I sold this, I would get to draw 4 cards for that in exchange for that one good. Oh, one other thing. So notice how I got a good on this the moment I played it. See how there's a halo around the world? That's called a windfall world. That that has a good attached to it the minute you play it, but it does not normally produce goods during the produce phase. Whereas a solid color like this one will actually produce as long as somebody calls the the produce phase. So in this case, you know what? I think it actually would behoove me to get the cards up front, because if somebody calls Development, I can play my Space Marines. If somebody calls Settle, I can't afford to play Mining World, but I really want to afford to play Mining World, or even Distant World. Actually, if I pitch my whole hand, I'd be able to afford Distant World. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to do Explore. That is my choice this round. All right, so myself and one other AI decided to explore, but we've also got coming a settle and a produce phase. That's fantastic. So my explore action lets me draw 3 cards and discard one of them that I don't want. I don't have any military to speak of at the moment because these guys don't count until you play them. So I'm going to get rid of the Avian race. But now I want to settle, and now I think I've got now I've got something good going here. So my choices here are Distant World, which will improve the price of my if I do a sell action and sell one of my novelty goods, which this world is going to produce, it increases the price. The base price for a novelty good is 2, so that would make it 5, which is more than what I would get for the genetics goods. On the flip side, if I do Mining World, we would get a rare earth metal. That's worth 3 if we sell it. But it also, the act of it producing draws us a card, which is pretty nice. Not gonna lie, that's actually really nice. I might take the Mining World and then discard things, but keep the Distant World for a future play. That might be a good solution here. Then again, Distant World produces a good that's inherently worth more. So you know what? I'm gonna go Distant World. We're going for big bucks plays here. Oh, one interesting. All right, so yeah, now we do produce, and now we have 3 goods. Now we've got 3 goods, but we've only got 1 world that can actually consume good. This can only absorb 1 of those goods. So it would behoove me, and I have no cards in hand right now. I'm going to take a sell action here. Unfortunately, if people call Develop and Settle, we're going to miss out on that action. But if I just do a 2-card Explore, I'm probably not going to get anything I could play anyway, so it's better just to get the bigger payday. So I'm going to call Sell here. All right, good. Nobody played anything, so I didn't miss out on anything, and I even get a free explore. Now, when I'm not the one calling the action, my action is weaker. So instead of drawing 3 and keeping 2, I draw 2 and keep 1. But I get to choose which one I keep. Alien robot sentry, that requires a military, which we do not have. Terraforming robots might be an interesting one. So let's get rid of the one we can't play. Hit OK. All right, and now we can see the prices, and because of the distant world boosting the price of this, it's more valuable for me to sell this good. And boom, I get to draw them instantly. Now, we also have a consume power, so let's consume the good on distant world, because distant world's going to produce a new good anyway, so we might as well get a victory point out of the deal. And our goods refilled, because, and only because, one of our opponents called produce. All right, now let's see what we got. We've got a lot more options to us here. Alien artifacts, by the way, are worth 5 base, even without any price boosters, so those are pretty good. But I wouldn't be able to afford this. I'd need to be able to discard 6. Secluded World lets me kick away a good for a card. Not great, because I'd rather have the victory point, but a good tempo play at the very least. But I think I might just want to sell again, because all of our stuff refilled, and hope that somebody calls either develop and or settle so that I can actually spend some of my hand down. Relying on the AI to do that is not always the smartest thing, but sometimes it can pay off in tempo. All right, I'll get rid of the one that requires military. Public works is a good one, because that can absorb a card. Oh, and we can play the robot factory. Although nobody called produce, so that would sit there idle, and it would also just wipe out my entire hand. I think Secluded World is the correct play here, because that can absorb some of our stuff here. But then again, we've got 7 cards in hand. You have a hand limit of 10. So if we don't spend enough cards here, then we're going to have to discard anyway. So maybe it makes sense for me to get the robotic factory. I mean, it's worth a lot of points too. And these things are good, but they're not great. I mean, Public Works is pretty good for our current position. What the hey? Robot factory, go big or go home. And let's pitch our whole hand. Now again, this doesn't help we need more cards that absorb stuff, but getting that big one was tempting. That might have been a dumb move on my part. Now, since nobody called produce, we don't get a refresh there. Ooh, Research Labs is fantastic for what we're doing, because it can absorb one of those things, and we get a bonus card draw every time an alien artifact is produced. Yeah, we got 2 of them. You can only play 1 of them, but I think it would be good. And Gambling World's fantastic too. But if we play, yeah, I think we're going to call development. See how this is a diamond symbol? This is a tech. But this world is very important to us right here. This Research Labs. Okay. So the problem here is, oh well, we got another thing here. Context mission. Get rid of dropship. So the bonus for choosing develop is that your development it costs you 1 less. So instead of having to pay 4 for this, we only have to pay 3 cards for it. So uno, doso, treso. Oh, and we can actually afford the Gambling World for our world placement. Nice. I wasn't expecting that, but it's a welcome. If somebody else hadn't called Explore, we wouldn't have been able to afford this, but happy accident. Now, because nobody called Consume or Produce, the Research Lab didn't actually do anything this turn. Same goes with the Gambling World, but I think we'll be okay. I think it would behoove us to call Produce. Especially, although we don't have any cards in hand. I like to call produce when I have cards in hand. I might want to sell, but then that's not terribly efficient. But then again, so is having a completely empty hand. That's not terribly efficient either. Yeah, let's call a sell. Yeah, we're gonna miss out on this world unless we get a zero-cost world. Nope. Tourist world. Ooh, tourist world is... Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Research lab lets you get to keep +1 card, so I didn't actually have to discard. So I did get 2 cards out of the deal, but now I get 2 more. Oh yeah, gambling world has a side effect that every time you do it, you have to pick a number, and it draws a card from the top of the deck, and if that card's cost matches the number you guessed, you get to keep it for free. Now we see some of these 6-cost things here. These things are very powerful, and we're getting to the part in the game where we get them, so I'm going to go fishing for one of them. Nope, mining robot. So I just don't get it. That was the thing. Okay, now we want to call produce, because we want to make sure our cards are producing stuff. Now the bonus for being the one that calls produce is that one of your windfall worlds gets to produce as well. Normally they don't produce, but we have only one windfall world, so we would literally get stuff on all of our worlds, which is fantastic. And if somebody else calls one of the others, that would work out nicely too. Yeah, Pan-Galactic League is good. Gives us points for the number of Genes worlds we have. And every time it produces, we get to draw a card for everyone. So we'd get 1 extra card. Not quite worth the cost of admission. I'd rather have Tourist World right now. So yeah, let's call produce. And speak of the devil. Now, actually, what would make a lot more sense is do the biohazard mining world, because the tourist world can absorb goods, but we don't have any goods to give it right now. Whereas at the final phase, the biohazard mining world will kick out another good, and we can play the tourist world next round. So I think that's the smarter play. Get rid of you. Not going to be able to afford you anytime soon. Okay, yeah, we don't have anything to give, but we can guess at the gambling world. Yeah, let's guess again. Hey, we got it right! Maybe not the one we wanted, but it gave us a free card. I'll take that. And yeah, look at all that. Look at all that. Okay, and I'm glad I got that, because now we have enough cards to play down the tourist world. So now the question becomes, do I want to call settle to make sure that I have a chance to play this, or do I want to call either sell, or do I want to call ×2 settle? You know what? I think I'm going to play it a little safe here and call a settle. Because I really want that tourist world down, and then we can start producing and rejuvenating that. The alternative, though, if somebody, so here's what we look at. We look at our opponents and we look at their board states, because you have to guess what they're going to do to try and capitalize on it. And this AI is smart enough to do tricksy things based on their board state. This guy ain't gonna call settle. He's got 1 card in hand. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. He's got a bunch of these. He's probably going to call like ×2 consume or something like that. Now this guy has 5 cards in hand, so he could afford a world out there. He could also afford a development, so he might call development. That's equally possible. Now this guy's got 10 cards in hand, the maximum limit, and also a bunch of resources. But I don't see a lot of ways for them to consume that, so they're probably going to play a world. In that case, we're going to want to sell, because we can sell one of our alien artifacts here. All right, so someone called a develop. Oh, actually, export duties raises the price of everything by 1. So that actually kind of works out really nicely. Yeah, we don't need Galactic Federation because we're about to get one more cash for our good here. Ooh, the genes are actually worth more because of the biohazard mining world here. That's fine by me. So we're going to go and sell that for 7 cards, bring us up to 10. Now our research labs can absorb 1 of the genes for a victory point. Our gambling world, which, oh yeah, we got to call this. Let's keep fishing for the 6s. I'm feeling the 6s. Nope, not quite. But the gambling world can also absorb a good. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do anything special for us. And then you absorb a good. That one. So we're going to have 1. We don't get 2 goods on Earth's Lost Colony. If there's already a good there, it can't produce another one. But we got everything else back. And we got 1 extra card, so we got to choose and discard something. Mining conglomerate, no. Get rid of the one that requires military. All right. Now we kind of want to make sure we play that tourist world. We've got more than enough stuff. Selling would be foolish. So yeah, let's make sure we play that tourist world. I'm glad we took that action because nobody else called that. So yeah, tourist world. Now, what Tourist World lets us do is we pitch 2 goods to it, but we get 3 victory points, so it's slightly more efficient. Yeah. All right, let's get rid of all the military ones. Because yeah, we're not doing military this time. Okay, now, let's see. Research labs can soak up them. We're not going to get any money for this, but we're going to get a lot of victory points, and that's what counts. Actually, I have a little bit more consumption than we need. Let's keep fishing for a 6. Nope, that's okay. All right, so we're picking away at the victory points here. But we are once again without any goods, so we're going to want to call produce, because we want to make sure all our worlds are all built off of production. So if they stay empty, then that's no bueno. So we're calling produce, and somebody else calls settle. Nice. So what would be more valuable to us, a pre-sentient race or a destroyed world? Probably the pre-sentient race. It's worth more base points anyway. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Now that's another windfall world, so it starts play with a resource on it. But now since I called produce, actually a lot of people called produce. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think what would behoove us is to do a ×2. So this is the other type of call that you can do. In addition to calling a produce by selling something, you can, instead of selling them, you can say, I want to earn twice as many victory point chips for my cards this round. That's going to be my round for choosing the consume bonus, and we want to build up our victory point chips because our economic engine is good. You don't want to do this early in the game because you need the economy, you need the liquid cards coming into your hand so you can keep playing stuff. This stage of the game, we want more victory point chips, so let's do it. All right, somebody calls settle, but we don't actually have any planets to settle. Oh well. All right, research labs gets that. Tourist world gets that and that. Gambling world gets 6. Nope. Okay. And that's the last of the victory point chips. So nobody finished their empire, but we emptied out the chip pile. So that ends the game. And we won! I say that with actual legitimate surprise because honestly, in my games in all my different rounds of playing this game, the AI beats me maybe 2 out of 3 times. So yes, my skills can give me an edge, a slightly more statistically better performance than the 1 in 4 random chance. But the AI is no pushover, and I mean they were close. It usually comes down to much closer than this. This would be classified as a blowout, and I guarantee you on future episodes I'm gonna get my butt kicked. So in fact, I think I'm gonna do another round of these tomorrow. So I hope you guys liked Race for the Galaxy. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Good, bad, or indifferent, your feedback's always welcome. So until next time, this has been Pinstar, signing out. See ya!